You know, I love the summertime. Hope you guys do as well. Gene Pastula in the house. Hey there, Gino.
I love summertime too.
It's the best.
Yes.
It is the best. You know, when you live in a place like San Diego, though, what are you going to do? Complain about the weather?
You never can see the demarcation, can you? It just kind of rolls in.
No, I want to get to this discussion. When we're talking about professional athletes blowing their money, and one of the guys that could really help in this area is sitting with me today, certified financial planner Gene Pastula. But I also wanted to get to Rodney in Sunnyvale. Can you answer a Social Security question with me?
Oh, heck yes.
Okay. See, Gene will make it up if he needs to.
That's right.
Rodney, how you doing there, brother?
Good, good. Thank you for taking my call.
You bet. How can we help today?
Hey, just a question. What in Social Security, do we have anything in legislation in the works or coming down the works? What are short-term effects on Social Security is coming down the pipe, short-term and long-term? I'm 62. I got family. I worry about my kids and my grandkids.
Okay, here's the deal. Yeah, got it. Thank you for the call. Listen, short-term, a 62-year-old, you don't have to worry about it. The so-called gray population, there's a lot of voting power there. They ain't going to mess with us. Your kids and grandkids, you're going to have to prepare them for one of two things, probably both. And that is higher taxes on Social Security and lower benefits. What's happening right now, there's no legislation that's pending, and it will probably be a hot topic. You've already heard Chris Christie talk about it. It's the third rail of politics, so nobody's going to want to talk about it, but somebody's got to sooner or later. Under the current system, there will be enough money coming in to provide our kids and grandkids about 3/4 of the benefits that are promised just based on the new money that comes in from the working stiffs. So benefits are going to have to be cut by 25% or taxes are going to have to be raised. It's one or the other. I say perhaps both. Thank you very much for the call, Gene. What do you think?
Well, I'm glad from a Social Security perspective, I'm glad I'm where I'm at.
You're already taking yours, aren't you?
That's right, man. I started taking it right away.
People our age aren't going to have to worry much about them changing the system. Nobody's going to be foolish enough to do that because you certainly can't get elected or reelected if you go against the senior population, especially the boomer population.
Well, and it doesn't make any sense to change that big of a program, immediately. I mean, you have to phase it in, give people time to adjust for it and account for it and the rest. So no matter what they do, it's going to. The interesting thing is that even though they say, look, we're suggesting that we should reduce these benefits, starting with people that are 50 and under, and in the next scene, some congressman or whatever is out there saying, oh my God, they're going to change your benefit.
It probably is going to be, for those 30 and under. But that's my own personal opinion. All right, I want to get back on point. Athletes finishing out of the money. I talked about how I had some experience with that early on. It wasn't that many years ago, but it was a decade or two ago in my career as a financial advisor. And I gave up on it after, 6 months or a year of attempting to work in that business because it just frustrated the living daylights out of me because they really wouldn't listen to me. They were just listening to themselves, their mom and dad and their agents and all that stuff. They really didn't do sound financial planning. Some of them do, but the ones that I was involved with didn't.
92% of retiring Americans do not have enough money and resources to live and enjoy the lifestyle that they would, nothing out of line, just an even lifestyle that they would have liked to do. 40 some odd years ago when I started in the business of financial planning and the like, that was the statistic.
It hadn't changed.
It has not changed a bit. And so, I mentioned that I would like to follow up on this because nobody listens. I mean, there are, I would say that I've talked to a lot of your listeners, and they all just think this is a great show. Oh, I listen to them all the time, et cetera, et cetera. Then you ask them, okay, so what are you doing and what's going on and all the rest of the stuff. They ain't doing nothing. They listen to you. They listen to you.
What, do they like the jokes or what?
Yeah, I think so. And it's that, the bumper music in between and that kind of stuff. And you're better than the other guy, so what the heck? But, I've talked to probably at least 40 or 50 people seriously about, the insurance programs that we do. And there's a lot of interest and we've been, nicely successful with it. But it amazes me because as talking to them, I get to know the situation, the kind of money they have, what they're, a lot about them. And I know that what we're talking about here is really a no-brainer. It should be so simple to make this adjustment. But so many of them don't, and that's been historical. And whether you're talking to a stockbroker or a financial planner or anybody else, that they'll all say the same thing. So if somebody
signed a $5 million contract, net after taxes and all that, they netted $5 million, all right, and they're in their 20s. Let's say they're 25 to pick a number. All right, by the time they're 65, that's 40 years later. If they took 10%, they tithed to themselves, right? They scrape 10% off the top. Let me put this on the screen so the TV viewers can see it at the same time. So $500,000, that'd be 10%. For the next 40 years, they just locked it up. They put it in a lockbox, and they earned 7% on the money, even though the market's done more than that. We'll say 7%. They'll have $7.5 million. So, and I remember going through this in the dot-com crash, meeting a lot of these 35-year-old techno wizards that had $5, $10, $20 million in company stock. And they thought it was going to $100 million. They mortgaged their houses by leveraging, their margining their stock and so forth. And then the market crashed. And a lot of them were absolutely bankrupt, having been worth $10 million at age 35. Drove me crazy.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that, the things that they need to, or they would like to know or should know about doing, taking care of financial business they're not taught. You don't learn it as you come up in school or anything of that nature. They're not simple, no matter where you're at. I mean, whether you're talking about, even just stocks and bonds, which are the most common thing you hear about, but certainly insurance is, if you need to know how it is put together, it's not simple, and all the rest of it. You've got the tax laws and all the rest. So there's a lot of that, but they'll go ahead and they'll spend time with an advisor who says, okay, do this, and this. And it doesn't even have to be anything extreme. And yet it's very hard, very difficult for them to pull the trigger.
Takes a long time.
Yeah,
I've learned in the past that it may take years before someone actually makes the move. But when they do, they're very, very happy. They're very happy with that relationship.
But usually what happens is some event occurs in their life that just shakes them.
Yep. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, John Bam Ransom is going to be interviewing Mr. Pastula, and we'll see what Bam has to say about all this good stuff. 844-RAY Show if you want to check in with Gino here. Otherwise, stick around because we've got emails coming up too at raylucia.com, RayLucia.com. This is the Ray Program.
It's summertime, 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 summertime,
summertime. Bobby, I didn't know that you had that kind of range in your voice to get that high. Was that surgically or just natural talent? Hey, welcome back to the Ray Lucia Show. I am John Bam Ransom, filling in, not replacing the great man. We're going to hear from him in just a second with your email questions. And by the way, not coincidentally, his name ends in CIA. Man of mystery, man of mystery. So we're joined by Gene Pastula, Safe Money Monitor. We're talking a little bit about insurance, and we've talked a little bit. You talked a little bit with Ray about 40 years ago. It's pretty much the same as it is now, except for there are more innovative ways of actually using insurance to benefit kind of normal people.
Yeah, well, insurance and everything else. And that's what's really interesting is that the when I first started the business, one of the big things they said was, hey, your customers or your prospective customers, statistically, they don't do a good job of preparing for retirement.
Sure.
So it's our job to get out there and do this. And now 40 some odd years later, I look at it and, hey, it's still, nobody's doing a good job.
Doing it right, exactly.
And and of course, what's happening now is on top of all the rest of the stuff that you've pointed out on this program today about the change and the geopolitical thing and the economics and all the rest of the stuff, which is totally different than it was, back, in the olden days.
Yes.
But it's still. Now that we have so many different ways of doing finance right, and helping people accumulate money, even if it's the smallest amount, if they get in the habit of doing it.
Well, and let's talk about something because I think you brought this up last week, and I want to hear more about it because I love the idea of taking existing resources and making them do double duty. Talk about the linked benefit program and how attractive that is, because that's taking something that if you don't do this to some extent, it's almost a waste.
Well, you're going to feel stupid at some point in time if you wake up and realize you should have.
Yes.
But what we've been able to do with some of these innovative products is design them in such a way that it isn't really about making a purchase of something that is not really very exciting. People have always, made jokes about life insurance, about the fact that, when you pay for life insurance and then, hopefully you don't die, but if you do, it's somebody else that gets the benefits. Well, that's not like getting a brand new car, with chrome wheels. So there is that, and that will always be there. But what has happened in the last 10 to 20 years is that the aging population of this country is really sped up. I mean, we've got the baby boomers, 10,000 a minute or a day or something like that, I don't know, or turning 65. And we're staying alive longer, they're keeping us alive longer, and so they're getting us to the place where we don't just die after 4 or 5 years of retirement. We have a slow diminishing level of health and all the rest of the stuff that ends up costing a lot of money, and that's the key. And more than half of us will spend some time being cared for by somebody at a cost of $6,000 to $8,000 to $10,000 a month.
So you're talking about taking some of those resources that you have sitting on the sidelines anyways and putting that to work so that you can make sure you can pay those expenses.
Correct. What we've done is, instead of saying you should buy an insurance policy for this and pay $4,000 a year, we say, look in your portfolio, and not everybody can do this, obviously, but look in your portfolio and see the money that basically is sitting there for emergencies. It would likely be spent for that if that happened without any other plan. And let's just reposition it. And it so happens that you can put that in lump sum or in installments, it's up to you, into an insurance contract, a life insurance policy, where that cash will be basically the same as it was from where you took it. In other words, it's safe, it's liquid, it's secure, and it's available to you back. But while it's in there, it creates a level of, an increase in the cash to a benefit that says when you pass away, if this is in place, your beneficiaries will receive that. Well, that's old news.
Right, we knew that.
But the difference is, before that, if you need it, that amount of money, that cash you have, will automatically become that much for you.
Right.
And you can receive that to help pay for care. And then we've gone it to another stage in some of the contracts that says, and if you end up using all of that, and you still need care, now the insurance company will come in and put in 2 times more.
Right.
So it's up like that.
Right. So you're taking existing resources and you're really transferring the risk.
We're turning insurance
to the insurance
We're
company.
turning into insurance, which is typically an expense, into an asset and an investment. Because whatever money you put into this thing, is there is going to be a predetermined amount that will come out. Hopefully not for you. Hopefully you will be one of the 35 or 40% of us that don't, and I'm in that. I'm not so sure about you, but
right, no.
but
No,
if you'd
but-
like, you know, I've got some
me.
inside track
No,
on
that's
that.
okay.
In any event, if you're not one of the 60% that need to use that cash, then the return on that investment to your heirs will be significant. And if perhaps you need only a few of it, maybe a few months worth, and then pass away, the rest of that stated amount is going to go to your kids or your beneficiaries.
Right.
So it's
So I
total
mean,
win-win.
the way we use insurance now is driven by kind of the demographics that are going on. It's amazing how financial service companies actually, over a period of time, figure out what do customers need. Oh, this is what we'll give them, right?
Exactly, and that's what we've done. And what's really interesting is because of the technology we have, the individuals in the field. I mean, in my case, I'm the one that originally conceived this concept and developed it like it is. I'm not an actuary, and I wasn't, an executive in an insurance company, but I was in the field knowing and seeing what was going on, and there's others as well. So there's a lot more creativity going on now.
Can people take existing products that they already own and turn it into something?
Good question. Yes. As a matter of fact, I'd say that probably 30% of the business that we do are individuals who have existing insurance that they don't really need it for family protection, but they've got it, and there's certainly no reason to get rid of it. But what we can do is exchange it into one of these that have this leverage, this additional leverage for long-term care.
And this is a really exciting portion of your practice. I mean, I know it sounds, to some extent, for younger people, they're probably not going to pay that much attention. But I mean, for people who are getting to be my age, these are things that I'm thinking about. And this is a way I can take existing dollars and get some protection.
Yeah, and now our objective is there's nobody that says, geez, Gene, that's not really very good, or What the real challenge is to get people to go ahead and make that leap and apply for the insurance, because there's obviously underwriting involved,
right?
And then commit the dollars. But even that, it's not a commitment, because you can get them back anytime.
Right.
So, but they got to take that leap of faith, just like the athletes that didn't do what Ray told them to do.
And that's what they needed. They needed to do some of these. They needed to buy themselves some type of insurance against the fact that their career was going to end. And, and maybe it was non-traditional type of insurance, but they never did that.
Yeah.
But what really, I'm excited, because this is a way to take existing dollars that you already have, like you said, that are usually just sitting around not doing anything, and turn it into an asset.
One of the keys is that there's a lot of hype out there and a lot of pundits who really don't understand insurance that much, but it's a fairly easy thing to trash. I mean, that's kind of the fun thing. But and there are abuses. But if you know someone, do we know somebody who really understands this, and can apply it in a holistic manner in your portfolio, in a professional manner, picking the products that that do the right job and don't take advantage of the customer, you're so far ahead. It's just amazing.
Right, and that's really the key. The key is to find somebody who you trust and who you rely, who can show you the math and show you, hey, this is how it works. So often we get questions from people, and they bought something, they don't know why it is that they bought. They forget the original reason why they bought it.
Not only the understanding and the appropriate positioning and acquisition of this in the first place, but then there's the servicing afterwards and that kind of stuff. So, we specialize in that. We actually consult with financial planners and other advisors, and provide them with the professional support for this kind of thing.
Hey, it's the Ray Lucia Show. Again, Ray Lucia Show. You can go ahead and go to raylucia.com. Send in your email questions. We will be getting to them right after the jump. I'm John Bam Ransom, filling in, but not replacing the great man himself, Ray Lucia. And that's not a mistake. That's Ray Lucia, CIA.
You got mail.